All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for our student-led webinar. We're going to be going over our SPED programs. We're going to give everybody 2 minutes to hop on, so we're going to go ahead and start officially at 6:02. All righty, looks like we are at 6:02 on the dot. So we are going to go ahead and hop into tonight's webinar. So thank you everybody for joining us. Tonight's going to be a student-led webinar. We are going to be going over our programs that we offer within the Department of Special Education here at KU. So this is me. My name is Cassie Barrera. I am an admissions advisor. I advise for not only our departments or our programs within the special education department, but also our curriculum and in teaching programs and our ALPS programs. I might have been in contact with some of you that are on tonight, so it's nice to see you guys. There's my contact information there. Go ahead and take it down, my email, my phone number. If you need anything regarding any of our programs, I'm happy to help answer those questions. So tonight we have two students joining us. We have Marna and we have Chi. I'll go ahead and let Marna introduce herself.
I almost forgot to unmute. Hi there, everyone. My name is Marna Blanche, and I am participating in the graduate certificate of the LSIE program. I am not a special education teacher. I have very limited special education background, but I joined this program because I needed to learn about special education in my current role, which is a ministry leader for a ministry for individuals with special needs. And I just really enjoy this program, and it has been such a tremendous asset to my current role.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Chi, you could go ahead.
Hi, my name is Chi. I'm from Vietnam. And, you know, in Vietnam, we have a lot of children with autism, and we don't have enough professor and teacher in the field. So that motivates me to come to study abroad at the US to study more about special education, especially about autism. And after a long life, searching, eventually I found KU and a wonderful program, the online program about autism. So I was so happy that I found it, and I learned so much, and I got a lot of support from the professor and my classmates. So I learned tremendously, and I hope when I come back, I will be able to serve more children with autism in my country, and we will run our school, and we have a lot of work to do. But what I learned in the program will help me a lot.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing. So also with us is Dr. Cynthia Murachek. At the end of the question and answer, Cynthia will discuss more about the LSIE program, which is our Leadership in Special and Inclusive Education. Cynthia, if you want to interject at any time, go ahead and feel free to add anything that you have to any of these slides. So how it's going to work is we're going to go through question and answer. The attendees, you are going to be on mute. Your video is going to be off. So during the presentation, if you have any questions that pop up that are not covered, go ahead and use that question and answer feature on the Zoom bar. We type in any questions that you have, and then at the end, we have some dedicated time where we can go over those questions. So with that, we'll go ahead and hop in. So our first question is going to be, why did you guys choose KU out of all the schools out there to get your graduate degree within special education?
So I can go first again. It was interesting. I was actually asked by my management for my current role to add some education to my repertoire, I suppose. And so KU, so I live in Kansas. So from a locational standpoint, Kansas was really just for me the obvious choice. I didn't necessarily research special education programs across the area or across the country. But what I've learned, though, is that KU is really one of the high standard schools and set extremely high standards in terms of special education. And, that is just confirmed through each module that I work through in the graduate certificate, where we have speakers and presentations from lecturers and professors from the university, and it's just wonderful to hear them speak, from their standpoint and with the amount of knowledge that they have about this area. So even though I didn't search far and wide, I am just extremely excited that I was able to join this program at KU.
For me, because I study at Ivy League University before at Kansas City, Missouri, and my professor, she from KU, and I'm, oh my goodness, she is my model, and I must become like someone like her. So actually, my very personal motivation from her. But after graduating and doing more research, I found KU in the most the number one and number two in the national rank about the program. And that's why I applied to the program, and I'm so glad that I did it, because what I learned from there is, I think, cannot compare with other university. And I also had a lot chance to meet with virtual conference with Temple Grandin, and she awesome, and many other opportunity to talk and to meet up, to listening to a professor all over the places, give me ample chances to learn and to reflect on what I learned and apply to the reality.
Great. Thank you both for sharing. So as you guys know, these programs are fully online graduate programs. So why don't we go into, why was the online format important for you? And then also, just to tie into that, the online learning platform that we do use is called Canvas. So if you want to just touch on, what is it like using Canvas, and how has that experience been for both of you?
Sure. So the fact that online is important for me is just because, this is an add-on that I'm doing just in this time of my life right now. So I have a full-time job. I have a family that I need to take care of and feed and be with, in the evenings. And so the fact that this is online is just, it just makes it so much more convenient. Convenience is important for us. And so so for online, that just kind of was a natural selection for me. Um, you know, I need to be driven to do things every once in a while. I can be a procrastinator. And so I was nervous about, you know, everything being online, and am I supposed to be driving myself to get things done, or, you know, will there be deadlines and those kind of things. And deadlines might scare certain people, but for me, the fact that I need to get things done on a weekly basis, that for me is extremely helpful. And then by using Canvas, and the which is the online learning management system, that just extremely is extremely helpful for me in terms of driving, and just, you know, keep going with the assignments and not get behind in, you know, in working through this course. So so yeah.
For me, because I started the program when in the midst of the pandemic. So at that time, everything is, you know, online, everything virtually. So I think that's a really good start for me. And then I know that I need to return home anytime because whenever the flight is available, I need to return home. And right now, I am in Vietnam right now. I just returned home last week, and I'm in the quarantine right now. So you can see my background kind of weird. So I'm in the quarantine area right now, but I still will be able to, you know, finish my courses at any time at my convenience. So I think that the most important thing about the online program is flexibility. You can, you know, you can finish the course, the requirements anytime. So that kind of the criterion for me why I chose online program. And with the Canvas thing, I think it's wonderful design because everything available there. You can get information. You can contact with your professor, your classmates. You have an online discussion. I mean, you can navigate the website easily and get whatever you want to finish the courses. So I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Awesome. That's good to hear. That's definitely a common question that I get from potential students is what is it like using Canvas? So it's nice to hear that it's all together seamlessly. All right. So next question is going to be, do you feel like you have, you know, good access to professors when you have questions throughout the program? That's also something else that's important, I know, to potential students, as well as, you know, how is your interaction and bond with other classmates in the program?
Mhm. Yes, I can definitely say that we do. You know, and not just through Canvas, but, you know, in the course that I am doing, our lecturers are extremely helpful with any mode of communication, you know, whether it is through email, or through Canvas itself, or even through having Zoom meetings. And so the lecturers need for everybody to be successful in the course, and so they value the fact that that we want to reach out to them and that we can connect with them. So yes, Canvas has the ability to you know, make that communication possible, but they do, especially in my course, they do invite us to communicate with them via other modes of communication. And you know, my interaction with the classmates, that's actually interesting because you know, when I started out the first course of this graduate certificate, we were a lot of students, and that is, I guess, just the design, you know, of this graduate certificate, and it was a little bit difficult to be able to communicate with everybody, but that wasn't necessarily the point. You know, in some cases, we were, for certain discussions throughout the course, we were divided into smaller groups, which made it very easy to be able to connect with classmates and communicate with them. As the graduate certificate is now progressing, we are fewer students, and it makes it really easy to communicate. So So any type of communication, whether it is with the professors or with your classmates, is made really, really easy through this design of the scores.
Yeah, for me, the most important thing, the rest they gave you is cell phone number, so you can contact them anytime. You can text them, you can call them, you can email them, whatever you want. And for my case, like whenever, because of my schedule is kind of very, it's not very stable. So like I need to return home right now, and I email them and I text them, hey, I need to return home right now. How can I, contact you? And can you make some, extension for my assignments? Can I meet with you earlier so I can be able to return home? Because I'm not sure when I return home I have an internet access, access or not. So my professor is very, very supportive and understanding. They support me anytime, and I feel like very comfortable to contact with them. You can share with them, you can ask them the question, you can ask for support, and their own way there for you. So I really, really love them, like Dr. McKinnon and Dr. Whitworth. So I really appreciate that.
Great, thank you so much. So next question that we're going to go
Cassie?
into. Yes.
Kathy, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Go
There
ahead.
was a question that was in the Q&A
Okay.
that was kind of connected to what our two students were talking about. Can I do that now, or do you want me to hold off till the end?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so thank you so much. So first of all, Chi and Marna, thank you so much for sharing your experiences here. And I can't tell you, as faculty of the Department of Special Ed at KU, it makes me so happy to hear these things. It's like it gives me nerd goosebumps, because it makes me happy to know that all these things that we talk about and we want to have happen are actually happening in some ways. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Jordan, you asked a question, will the online classes have lectures uploaded to Canvas, or is the program more towards you teaching yourself? And the way I'm going to respond to that is that while all the programs are different and the certificate programs are slightly different than the master's programs, we all definitely have a philosophy that challenges, I'll say, my traditional conceptualizations of what online learning looks like. I took online classes in one of my graduate degrees, and I basically needed to show up and like punch in, post 2 responses, and I could go on with my day. And there was never any interaction. That is not what these programs are, not at all. I'm going to say that we use UDL, Universal Design for Learning, as a framework in our design for the learning opportunities that we are trying to kind of create and cultivate for our students. So both, yes, and is the response to your question. There are existing lectures, as Marta mentioned, in the LSIE program. There are existing lectures that we've recorded from other faculty at KU, from just experts in the field who are kind of coming together and talking to you about a specific concept. But there are also ample opportunities, lots of opportunities for engaging with your classmates, for engaging with your professor, for in the autism program, I know the professors spend a lot of time doing kind of weekly or bi-weekly optional meetings where students can kind of come together and just meet and talk and connect. So we're special educators. We've tried to create a learning opportunity that meets lots of different needs, lots of different modalities, lots of different schedules that we all have. I too have a family. I like to spend time with them. And we try to kind of build that into the courses. I hope that answers your question, Jordan. Please feel free to ask a follow-up in the Q&A if I didn't address that enough. But I just wanted to make sure that we addressed that. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for kind of checking in on that Q&A for me. I really appreciate it. I thought that was perfect. So next question that we're going to get into is, the special education programs do utilize case studies. So if either you can touch on and just explain, how these case studies are incorporated throughout your program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, I can go first. So what is really nice about how Canvas is designed is that there are certain aspects of the certificate that you see throughout the course or throughout the certificate for that matter. One of those things are the case studies. And so there is, if you can even envision what your screen would look like with some buttons to the left-hand side of your screen, those buttons are always the same as you're navigating through the Canvas system. And so one of those are the case studies. And you can access your case studies at any point throughout your course. But then, especially in our case, there were a couple of modules so far that you actually need to select the case study. And you can select a case study of your choice. And so I think maybe there's like 12 or so case studies. And it is just, I was just so impressed with how it was designed too. Like Dr. Marusek was saying about the universal design for learning that was incorporated throughout the whole system is you can listen, you can read, you can watch pictures, you can, so just the whole design, especially of the case study section was really, really helpful. Do you want me to answer the second one too while we're at this?
Yeah, feel free to go ahead and jump right into the second as well.
let me read that question just real quick. So, okay, so I actually, I guess I answered part of that question when I was saying that in a couple of modules, we actually already used the case studies. And so that was part of the assignment is, using a case study, answer a few questions or, something like that. I actually can't remember exactly what that assignment was. But all the other assignments are just, in various formats, again, using the concept of UDL in this case. So an assignment could be just very recently, which was very interesting in the second course of this certificate, we needed to create a timeline, or at least there was a timeline of events through special education that occurred from the early 1900s through now, and we needed to select a specific activity on that timeline and just elaborated on that activity that happened throughout the timeline. And then, of course, some assignments that we would have every week would be our reading assignments that we need to do. So you would read through a few articles or chapters from a handbook and make some, just make some notes about your reading. Some of the assignments that I really enjoy is our discussions with the other students that we have. So, maybe you would have a scenario put in front of you and then have to answer a few questions as your initial post. And then all of the students would participate in that discussion and you would read the posts from the other students and just have some questions to them or make an interesting comment or something like that. So there is just a variety of different assignments that really keeps the whole certificate very, very interesting and engaging.
Yeah, I will add on for the case study, you can use for the whole program. Like when you start the first course and to the end of the course, you will use the same case study, one at the low end of the spectrum and one at the high functioning. And you also have a chance to use your real student as case study. You just change the name like Miva and Poppy. So it's very convenient, you know the student. Like for me, I don't have a real student right now, but I have a case study and I kind of like, I know them in person, It's very, very enough information for you. So you can use that to finish your assignment. So that is very good point about the assignment and the material the professor provide in the program. So it makes your study very consistent, so you can apply what you learned before to the next course, and it just flow smoothly for the whole program. And I also add on like you can have a chance to what the assignment challenge you will really what you do in the future work. It's just not something from somewhere else, but it really touch in the real life and challenge you to think deeply and to apply what you learn in your work, not just something interview your some question, or no, not about that. It is challenging, but I really love it because when it challenges you, you will learn a lot, and you need to think, you know. So that's what I want to share about the assignments in the program.
Chi, it makes me so happy to hear you say you need to think. Yes.
Absolutely.
Really hard.
You think. Yes.
Perfect. Yes. Thank you all for sharing that. Case studies are definitely very unique to the program, and it's great. I'm sure once you start the program, you really get to know the case studies by the time that you finish.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we're going to jump into, favorite classes and why. And you guys, I'll go ahead. I'll just read through all of the questions. That way we kind of just organically go through. So you'll start off.
Okay.
Favorite class and why? Are there any group projects involved, or is it more individual versus group? And then, have you been able to apply what you've been learning in your class, in your classes to your current work setting?
So, so I was telling the others earlier that I am not your typical student. So when you are referring to classes, when I think of classes, it would be some place where I would go, or a specific class that you would attend. And so the LSIE certificate is designed in such a way that each course, I would assume, is a class, or maybe each module is a class. But everything for me, and Chi actually mentioned it earlier, everything flows so nicely together that for me it's just actually one big class. And of course it's my favorite class. um, and why? It's just because I learn so much. For me, not having even educational background or special education background, everything that I learn in each module is something that I sometimes hear for the very first time, and it is just some of the things. All of the things are just so fascinating. And so I just really enjoy that. So in terms of individual versus group work, up until now, most of our work has been pretty much individual work. And, I'm okay with that. I do learn a lot from the other students, though, when we have these robust discussions. Because I don't have the special education background, and some of the students bring in their special education experience and talk about the things that happen in their schools and in their classrooms, and I just find that fascinating, and I've learned so much from my fellow students up until now. And yes, I was definitely able to apply the work that I've learned so far in my work. Again, I am somebody from a church ministry for individuals with disabilities. And so you might wonder, how can I apply the work that I have learned, in my daily in my daily work with our individuals? And the things that we learn here, you can apply across, the disability realm. I don't think it is just focused on special educators or leaders in special education. And that is why it has been, such a great addition to my work.
For me, I agree with Mana that it is one course, it prepares you from the beginning, like you need to understand about the characteristics of the autism. Then you will need to learn more about the evidence-based practice and how to use the practice to teach different students at low end of the spectrum or high functioning. So it kind of flow, you cannot say like because more, useful than the other one. It's just one piece of the your learning. And also I also feel like you have a chance to discuss in the video discussion, and I learned a lot from my classmates as well. We share a lot of information, and everything just so real and so practical. You have a chance to learn from them, but also about the assignment, you have a more chance to finish in your in your own. So that kind of thing I like about that, because we have a different schedule. It's really hard to put everybody in the one group to finish one assignment. It's just not working, I think so. For me, because I have a background in special education. I taught in special education for 10 years before I came study at the US. So I see the reality in my whole country, and also saw the reality in the US, because I earned 2 master degree in the US, and I have many opportunity to observe in the real classroom in the US system. So I kind of see the challenging from the real settings, and also see what the theory talk about. So kind of make the connection between the theory and the practice. So I think the program at the KU prepare you for that. You mean, you know what the reality there and what you can use for the real case study in your classroom, in your school system. So I think that KU do the job, to make you bridge the gap between the theory and the practice.
Cassie, may I add something before we go on? So it's so interesting. I see that second question. Are there group projects? And I hear the word group work, and like the hair on the back of my neck stands up, because I remember what that felt like. I like, we are all educators, we're all motivated learners. So I'm sure the vast majority of us were the ones who did the work for our groups, just like, get out of my way and let me do it, and we'll get the A, and then we can just move on with ourselves. And I think, again, we've worked as a faculty pretty deliberately in cultivating opportunities for you as students to learn from one another. So even though it's not like a formal, collaborative project or something like that, both Chi and Marna have both mentioned the fact that in discussions, you get the opportunity to listen to other folks. The uniqueness of the LSIE program and our other programs is that we do have people from all over the globe, first of all over the world, talking about these concepts, which is so fascinating and pushes us to think in different ways, which I think is really exciting. But also, Marna, you're a great example. You kept saying, I don't have a special ed experience. That's not where I'm coming from. And we have so many folks who are educators, who are parents of kids with disabilities, who work in social services areas, like social work, or in religious ministries. We have people in the juvenile detention system and juvenile justice system. It broadens our perspective. So even though it's not, like a formal group work kind of stuff, which again raises the hair on the back of my neck every time I hear that phrase. You know, there's lots of opportunities to connect with people and learn not only with those folks, but learn from those folks. And I think that is particularly unique to our program, and I think a great space for learning that I want to lump into that opportunity. Also, Marna, more collaborative projects are coming your way. They're coming. You're just not through the program yet.
Perfect. Yeah. Thank you so much, all of you guys, for jumping in. Super helpful. So next question is going to be, you know, what are the network opportunities that you've had within, you know, this online program? And throwing it out there, have any of you guys taken advantage of the Flash mentoring, the online networking forum that is available to you guys?
So I'm chuckling because I'm hardly getting through my schoolwork during the week. So I have not had the opportunity to do any other networking, but you know, just the fact that I am a KU student and I receive you know, emails from the university. I do when there's something that just that seems interesting to me, I save it and I figure I'll go look at it when I have a moment. So I unfortunately I cannot really talk to you know, Flash mentoring or online networking forum.
Me neither, because I guess it's with the learning at the US system, so I kind of don't really need it. But we do have the email, you know, telling you that they have available resources. It's just about you. If you need it, you can get it anytime. So really about you. So just you know yourself and get support if you need it.
Yeah, and Marna, you bring up a good point. You know, you will be part of the alumni association within KU, which is a huge, strong alumni association that we have. So, you know, network opportunities will be plentiful in the future if you haven't yet, you know, taken advantage of those now. All right. So what has been the most challenging part of the program for you guys? And then on the opposite end, you know, maybe what has surprised you most about the program that you weren't expecting?
Mm-hmm. So for me, and I might be sounding like a broken record now, but I think the fact that I didn't have, you know, I didn't come into the program with maybe some of the prerequisites that might be not necessarily necessary, but super helpful. So you know, I learned everything that I learned in the program. I heard for the first time, and so when the program kicked off, or when the certificate kicked off, I was really anxious and nervous that I couldn't talk the talk, you know, as well as the other students who had all of the background. And the lecturer that we had at that point, she was wonderful. We jumped on the phone, and you know, I discussed my anxiety with her, and she's like, "No, I am not even going to compare you to any of the other students. You are an individual. You do you, and I am going to evaluate you based on, you know, your background." And that was just extremely helpful, and that really relieved some of the anxiety. And then, you know, as part of that too, I think I spend way more hours, you know, on a weekly basis on the program than maybe some of the other students do. I don't know. But, you know, I'm able to get through everything that I need to do on a weekly basis. I start early, and I divide my work into, you know, into workable pieces throughout the week. And I'm able to still, you know, do what I need to do in order to meet all my deadlines. I think what surprised me most about the program is the fact that I'm getting it. I'm learning and I'm remembering, the things that I learn. Just as on a side note, I'm actually a qualified nurse. So, 20 years ago, I got my degree in nursing, and I cannot remember anything from that.
Oh,
And because, you learn in a different way. You have a textbook in front of you, and you try and memorize the information, and then you go and you study it, and you get ready for your exams, and you write down a bunch of answers to questions, and then you forget it because you try to memorize all that information. The way that this program was designed, and again, I'm going to refer to Universal Design for Learning. That it has an incredible impact on my life. I remember things that I learned, at the beginning of the program. And yes, we can say that, well, that was 2 months ago. So you better remember, what you learned 2 months ago. But the point is, the way that this program was put together is just incredible, with the incredible amount of information that you go through, throughout the 8-week modules. It surprised me that I'm able to remember all of that, and the fact that I can actually use it in my daily work.
for me, I am an international student, and I can do that, and you can do that. You got the support there. You have the guidance, guide you to through the program, and because at the beginning I kind of nervous because KU and #1 ranking in the nation. So kind of, oh my goodness, what it picked me from there, and how can I do that? I'm an international student. But when you get into that, you see that you will learn, and you will be able to do that. Don't worry, just keep moving, and your professor over there, the material there, and your friend there, your classmate there, and the network you gain through your learning just extend larger and larger, and you feel like so safe, and you will learn and you will succeed in the future. So that's what I really feel right now. So far, I almost finished my certificate, but what I embrace in my learning will help me a lot in my future work.
Cassie, we had a question in the Q&A that I think actually kind of connects with what these two ladies are speaking about, and I'm going to need your assistance in answering it. The question was from Nadia. Nadia, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. I apologize if I'm not. Will completion of the certificate in ASD qualify you to upgrade to the master's program with exemptions? And if so, approximately how long will it take to complete the master's degree? And I think that's a really important question. So do you want to take that, because you're the advisor and you know the admission stuff, and I know the content stuff?
Yes, yeah, I'd be happy to take that question. Popular question. So yes, the graduate certificates are built to roll into the master's program. So the graduate certificate within autism spectrum, it's 5 courses. 4 of those courses are going to transfer seamlessly into that master's program. So you will have 4 of those courses done. We do like to call our graduate certificates, our mini master's programs, because they offer a nice stopping point. But for those who do want to then go ahead and pursue the full master's degree, yes, they will roll seamlessly into that master's program. So, there's no time or money lost for you guys. I hope that answered perfectly.
Yeah. Nadia, if that doesn't answer your question, just chat and we'll gladly follow up.
Yeah, so once you finish the graduate certificate, you will need to then apply for the full master's, but it's an easy process to do so.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Another very popular topic is, how do you balance school with work and life? Everybody is working full time. You have families at home. What are your tips that you can share? And then, what would be your advice to give to new students who are entering the program?
So don't ask my husband this question because our answers might be different. But it's just, for me, it's one of those things where if I commit to something, I will do whatever I need to do to be able to finish that. And so, if it means that I need to work a little bit later at night, on my computer to get my assignments done, then I will certainly do that. But I think I've given some tips throughout the other questions where I think my very first one would be to plan out every week. So, especially the course that I'm doing is that there's weekly modules that need to be completed. And so there's assignments due on a Saturday and there's assignments due on a Monday to complete that module. And it is just extremely important to plan out your week properly to make sure that you are able to get through all of the assignments. Something that I should be doing that I'm kind of avoiding doing is, to review your module at the beginning of the week so that you can see what assignments you have coming up. And maybe get an idea of how long you think it will take you to do the assignments. But, some weeks I'm so anxious for the module to start that I don't want to see ahead of time what is coming. But again, I'm able to get the things done that I need to get done. But again, just your timing throughout the week, and then of course don't procrastinate. That's not good for anybody. And advice that I would give to new students, other than what I already said, is just give yourself time to rest between modules. That has really helped me to get ready for the next week. And I know I make it sound like it is a really big deal, but remember, it's a really big deal for me. So please don't compare yourself to me. If you have, the basic education or even special education background, then you will find this certificate probably way easier than I do, but I make sure that I rest over a weekend if I can. So I really plan my week in such a way that I work from a Monday through a Friday. Sometimes I don't even have to work on a Friday, but I try and get all of my assignments done by a Friday so that on a Saturday and a Sunday, I can just take a nice, good rest before I need to start again on a Monday. So yeah, that's what I'm doing and I'm getting through it.
For me, I think because the learning is not about the program, it's not about the professor, it's not about the certificate or degree. It's about you. You're learning and you're getting something for you and for your future students. So the most important thing is about the passion, the desire to learn. Without that one, nothing will happen. If you hold on your passion and your desire, you will have a manage time. You know how to manage your time to get the thing done. And one thing, because every course 8 weeks, so for sure that you need that specific time to finish the course. You can finish earlier if you can, but every module will design the same thing for whole program. So what you expect to do, but the end of the week, like Thursday, you need to finish your discussion. Monday, you need to turn in your assignment. So for sure that you need those specific time to get the thing done. So like Mana just said, prepare ahead, because everything will open at the first module. Like module 1 and to module 8, everything open, and what are you expected to do. So read over it and just relax and prepare, and you will be fine. So that's my experience.
Great tips.
Cassie, can I just add one
Yes,
thing?
of course. Yes.
You know, that's okay. We're special educators. The faculty, we're special educators. Accommodating, modifying, responding, being responsive. Those are kind of built into our DNA as a faculty. You may recall the year of 2020, which was challenging for so many educators and so many families, so many students, so many educators across the nation, across the world. And one thing I am really proud of for our faculty was our response and supportiveness to our students. I pride myself personally as a professor who recognizes that you are working full time, that many of you are, you know, trying to keep your family afloat, and maybe marriage is intact. You know, like you're doing all of these things, and you are and then you're sprinkling a really rigorous, challenging, difficult graduate study on top of all of that. And you know, Marna, I think actually both of you said it at the beginning. We are truly here for your success. Like, that's not just lip service. We are here for your success. We are here. We are invested in supporting you. It's not our job to weed people out of our program. It's our job to get people this information because we believe in it so much. So, you know, I that's an important piece, I think, of the balance of school and work life. We recognize that so many people were teachers who were trying to navigate, are we hybrid this week? Are we virtual? Are we in person? Like all of that stuff was so difficult for schools and school leaders, for educators, for teachers, for classroom teachers, for families, for students. I pride myself in thinking that we really tried to be as responsive as we could be to our students while still maintaining high expectations, which, as educators know, that's a tough challenge to achieve. But I feel like we did it for the most part.
Yes, you did it. You did it.
Yes, thank you guys for sharing that tip. One that I wanted to share, I did a webinar with an ALP student, and he shared, you know, a simple but very important tip that I thought is, for him, what was important is to really have a dedicated space, a quiet space where he does his work, his schoolwork, and, you know, that's where he goes to do his school. So he said that was really helpful, and I thought, you know, I hadn't heard that simple but very effective.
Yeah.
All right. So next question is going to be, you know, what do you see yourself doing for work upon graduation? Is this something that's going to, you know, change your career? Kind of what is, you know, what are you going to be doing after graduation? And then do you feel like this program will put you in a competitive position within your field?
So that's actually an interesting question for me because, you know, I am doing this course right now so that I can do my current job better. So when I entered this role that I'm in right now, you know, goodness, I almost said I'm towards the end of my career, but I'm actually not. I'm like halfway through. But anyway, so when I entered this role, since I serve individuals with disabilities, this is something that I want to do for the rest of my career. So if I have, you know, 15, 20 years left of doing this, this is what I want to do. So I see myself doing this for the next 20 years if I can. So I don't have any plans of going anywhere after graduation. And I think that is okay, you know, because I think everybody would agree that in this field we need continuity, and so that is what I'm striving for in my role in our disability ministry. And yes, maybe I would become, you know, a competitive or put myself in a competitive position. But then again, that doesn't bother me all that much because this is where I see myself for, you know, towards the end of my career. But this is an extremely robust program. And I think if anybody recognized that you did this at KU, then you would put yourself in a wonderful position, in this field.
For me, after graduate, I will pursue a PhD in special education, and I just got accepted. And I didn't, KU helped me a lot, build up my resume, and the recommendation letter from the KU professor is powerful. I will tell you, because they know the quality of KU, and they trust the quality. They trust what you say. They trust what you learn from there. So it's extremely helpful, and I'm so glad that I joined KU just for a short time, but it's so helped me a lot in my future work. And whatever I do in the future, I know I will do very well. So that's what my future look like in the next 4 years. And after that, I cannot tell right now, but kind of a lot of work to do in the field.
That's awesome. Congrats on your future on the PhD. That's amazing to hear. All right, so that brings us to any other questions that have popped up in the Q&A feature that we might have missed. I believe there was one regarding the high incidence disabilities program, because I know both of these students are in programs outside of those, so we can definitely touch on that program. Let's see what the specific question.
Yeah, the question says, can you explain the coursework for the high incidence disability master's program? And that's Jordan's question. And then Jordan had another question about going on for a doctorate. And I can kind of lump these together. So I'm super excited for you, Chi. Congratulations, because that is another kind of ancillary benefit of our programs, is that a lot of folks kind of a lot of students go through and they're like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. And I'll tell you what, the LSIE programs are just as hard as the doctorate programs that I took in my own doctorate program. So they certainly get people kind of interested, thinking about it, thinking, hey, I actually think I can. I have a student right now. I have written a number of letters of reference for various doctoral programs across the US, because we're positioning folks to be ready for them for sure. Teaching at universities, KU in particular, it's required that you have a doctorate in order to teach in the master's programs. It doesn't matter whether that is a PhD and an EDD, and that's a big question. PhD tends to be more research-based. EDD tends to be more kind of practitioner-based, but it just depends on what you want. Related to the high incidence disability master's program, and Jordan, I invite you to kind of follow up with any clarification questions that you have about kind of the general course content. I taught in the high incidence program a couple courses here and there, but it is a high incidence program. As many of you may know already, high incidence is the biggest category of special education. It's the biggest population of students that we have in the special education field. So they provide a broad overview of lots of different types of disabilities, as well as pedagogical and practice-based kind of strategies for teaching reading, for teaching writing, for teaching math and that kind of stuff. But it is very broad and it is very focused on that very kind of specific group of students. Cassie, I'm going to open it to you to talk a little bit about, because we have the non-teaching credential thing, and then we have the teaching credential thing, and that's again out of my wheelhouse. I'm gonna be quiet and let that.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you for that explanation. But yes, so the master's in high instance disabilities, we do offer the two tracks. There's going to be a licensure track and a non-licensure track. And so basically the difference between the two is licensure is going to be someone who holds an initial teaching license and they're interested in getting a SPED endorsement on their initial teaching license because, they're interested in going forward and teaching special education. Or there are some that take the non-licensure track. um, that's a great, it depends on their situation, but that can be someone who works within a private school who necessarily doesn't need a teaching license. But that could also be, someone who works as an advocate or owns a private business who serves students or serves children who, do have frequently occurring disabilities. So that's a, larger broad spectrum. But like Dr. Maruchek said, you're going to get a very great overview of a broad variety of disabilities. And these are going to be, the most commonly occurring disabilities. They're going to touch on learning disabilities, emotional and behavioral disabilities, mild cognitive disabilities as well. And they will touch on autism. But it is going to be definitely, very methods and assessment heavy. And with the licensure track, you will be completing two practicums. The non-licensure track, they will do two electives in place of the practicums. And I'm not sure if we had any other questions or if that, answered everybody's questions. I'm just going to check the Q&A.
I just responded to another one from Jordan.
Okay.
Which would be best if I graduate in December 2021. I'm wondering if that's an undergraduate degree that you're going to graduate with a SPED degree. I don't know how long it takes Kansas Department of Education to do the licensure, but if you've qualified and applied for the licensure, then my assumption is that you would be able to go right into that, apply for the high incidence program for, with the licensure that you have.
Yes, and that is correct. Apply for the program, you need your licensure by the time you start your first practicum in order to add that onto your initial license. So yes, as long as you qualify and you have applied for that initial licensure, it would work. And then Dr. Bruncheck, I also want to make sure, we give you some time to touch on the LSIE program as a whole, add any, additional information that you would like to.
I feel like I inserted myself into the conversation and kind of answered some things that I wanted to talk about. But one thing that I wanted to point out specifically about the LSIE program that Marna can't speak to yet because she hasn't taken the class. And you mentioned, folks mentioned, or one of the questions was about group work and working collaboratively. The most exciting thing, in my opinion, about the LSIE program is that the capstone course is designed using video gaming principles. So instead of writing a paper or doing a project or something like that, you actually take on an avatar and participate in a virtual world. It's like World of Warcraft meets Dungeons and Dragons meets schools. And it is very collaborative. It is so collaborative that it's almost kind of a shock for folks. It is exciting because, in my opinion, it represents the cutting edgeness of our programs. We just lived through a pandemic and maybe we're not quite out of it yet, but lots of schools are moving toward online learning opportunities, and the colleges are, universities are, and it's not going away. So it's not going away. I don't think it will fully replace brick and mortar, but it certainly is not going away. It is so exciting to me to watch my students engage with kind of really cutting edge technologies in our online programs, and then saying, how am I going to use this in my 7th grade math class? Or how am I going to use this in my, self-contained autism classroom, or whatever it may be? I get nerd goosebumps. Like, I'm legit. I get it, it is so exciting for me, and that is such an important part of our program. that all of us as faculty are really working to just kind of push the envelope of what we're doing online. So if you have kind of preconceived notions of what online learning is, this isn't it. It's not easy. You're going to learn. You are going to be engaged. You are going to be supported. And I think that is really unique about our programs. And I look forward to working with all of you. And I'm going to put my email in the chat, Cassie, just in case anybody wants to reach out directly to me. You're more than welcome to. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. And that's all I'll say about all of that.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Ruchek. Thank you so much for being here. Chi and Marna, I want to thank you both as well, for taking the time out of your evenings to join us tonight. Thank you to all the participants who've been here as well. We're going to wrap it up with, we are currently accepting applications for the upcoming fall term. So we have passed our priority deadline, but that does not mean it's too late to apply. Those applications are going to be due by August 6th. So we're less than 3 weeks away. And those classes are going to start August 23rd. So definitely, if you're interested in applying, go ahead and get started on your application. It's a fully online process. It's very straightforward. There's definitely plenty of time to meet that August 6th deadline. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Cassie Barrera. I do work as an admissions advisor for School of Education's online graduate programs. My contact information is on there, so definitely take down my email. My phone number is there with my extension number. If you have any questions regarding any of the programs that we chatted about tonight or in any of our departments, I would be more than happy to help you guys. And with that, I would like to
Cassie, Cassie, there was one other question. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Sure. In my license is in Missouri. Can I apply for the teaching masters as long as that certificate that license is there? That can be applied toward it, correct?
Yes, correct. However,
Okay.
we are going to recommend, if you have licenses outside of the state of Kansas, check with your state's Board of Education, let them know you are interested in taking this program through KU, and you want to make sure that it's going to meet those requirements in the state of Missouri to add that endorsement onto your license. Always, recommend you guys do your due diligence. Off the top of my head, I believe it works in Missouri. However, with boards, changing requirements and such, we always encourage every student to check that it will meet those requirements within your specific state. All right. And with that, thank you all again for your time. We hope you all have a great rest of your evening. And with that, rock chalk.